He did 3 first-grade grand finals and also did 2 international games, 1 New Zealand and 1 Great Britain side. Firstly, good afternoon, Ray.
Good afternoon, Phil. It's certainly great to be with the 2DU team today. We're really looking forward to an exciting game of football.
Ray, give us a bit of a rundown of what a referee from a country group expects of an international game as such.
Well, Phil, an international match is probably the highest appointment that a country referee can achieve. Really, they should be entitled to go through and do test matches, but to my knowledge, no country referees ever refereed a test match, so this is the highest level to which they can go.
How will referee Hannigan be feeling about this?
Oh, I'd say he'd probably be feeling a little bit on the nervous side, but certainly he'll be feeling excited and really looking forward to getting out there, giving a good blast at the whistle and getting right into the game.
You were saying to me that you feel Great Britain will try and take advantage of the referee if possible?
Well, I think any touring side, Phil, they're a group of men who are working together, they're training together in a very close community. And when they go out to start their match, they're playing for their country, they've got their nation's jumper on their back, and they really go out to do as well as they possibly could. Now, they are then possibly a little bit more competitive than, say, the divisional sides. I was certainly in the 2 games that I did. They really not only just testing the referee out, but they test the opposition out. They like to get us inside the 5 if they can. They like to do a few things in the scrum. They're not without being, dirty or playing the game in the wrong spirit, but they certainly go out there to play the game as hard as they can. And the referee, of course, it's his role then to make sure that the game flows the way it should.
Kevin James, good afternoon and welcome again to the microphone this week. What do you think of the crowd and the atmosphere?
Well, it certainly is a crowd that's building up to the expectations of 5,000 or 6,000 people. I think what we've seen here today in the earlier games, particularly the Group 11, Group 10 and Under 18 fixture, which is just completed. If the football we're going to see in the main games can reproduce some of the form we saw in that game, I think we're in for an excellent afternoon. The crowd, I'd say at this stage, would be probably in the vicinity of 3,500 to 4,000 people. Any of those that are in Dubbo wishing to come down, there's still a few spots left on the grass on either side of the ground, and I'm sure that if you don't come down, you're going to be missing a fine spectacle, because it's not every day that you get an international side in Dubbo, and they're only a young side, and I think this afternoon their coach Frank Myers told us earlier in the day that they're a team. There are no individuals in this outfit. All they're trying to do is to each and every one of them win a place in the test side, and today they're here in Dubbo to prove themselves for their coach. As Ray said, they're wearing their jumper of their country, and I'm sure that they're as nervous as the Western Division boys are. As far as Western Division are concerned, I think they've got a side that's capable of upsetting the Englishman. Ted Goodwin, we spoke to him earlier in the day. He's got a plan of no mistake football. He intends to play the game in the Englishman's half or within 30 metres of their try line whenever possible. They will be kicking the ball, Western Division that is, will be kicking the ball at every occasion to keep the Englishmen away from their try line and in turn put pressure on them.
All right, thanks, Kevin. The game's about to start. We've got 2 Man of the Match awards for Western Division today, one from Home Crafts, an electric filler shave worth $100, and the referees have also given a $100 order courtesy of Braemar. We'll be talking about that later, and I might say at this stage, welcome to 2PK and also 2BS to our broadcast, and a special welcome to Ashton Stanford, the manager of Home Crafts in Bathurst, who I'm sure sponsors football down there as well. The teams, Great Britain is fullback Mick Burke. The wingers are Des Drummond and Des Foy. Centres are Joe Lydon and Keith Mumby. 5'8" is Tony Myler. Halfback Ray Ashton. Lock is Harry Pinner. Second rowers are Andy Goodway and Chris Burton. And the front row is Lee Crook, Brian Noble and Keith Rain. Western Division is programmed as Great Britain kick off and put it deep down to the Western Division line. Brad Jade comes across, picks it up, runs it straight up at them, comes to his 25, runs straight into the defensive Lee Crook, the big front rower, and is taken down. Gets up and plays it back to Jackson. Jackson gives it on to the big prop in right, but he's taken immediately in a McPhail, the prop, taking an excellent tackle. Goes to Lee Douglas, the halfback. He looks for support, but there's nobody there. Runs at them, but he's taken immediately in a good tackle. Gets up and plays it 30 metres from his own line. Back to Mark Smith for the big kick, as Ted Goodwin told us they would. He's put it straight down towards the fullback in the form of Mick Burke. He takes it 10 metres on his own side, runs across field, straightens up, but he's taken 5 minutes from halfway by very aggressive defence there from Western Division, 4 players. Gets up and plays it back. goes to the second rower in the shape of Burton. He runs straight at them, but there's nowhere to go with that defence, and has taken 2 metres from halfway. Great Britain in possession. Gets up and plays it back to Noble. Noble gives it to the prop, and he's knocked it behind him. Goes back to their centre in Keith Mumby. He also knocks it back, and they eventually pick it up, and they've lost 6 metres in that play the ball as it comes up. Noble goes for a run from dummy half to try and clean things up and give the attack time to regroup. And he's taken on halfway, and referee Hannigan said, I've told you to get off him, Western Division. They're a bit too eager, and they won't get off him, so he's given a penalty to Great Britain. The first penalty of the match, right on halfway, centre field, with 2 minutes of the game gone.
As we can see, Western Division are sticking to Ted Goodwin's plan in the first half. That is to attempt to keep Great Britain down in their own 30-metre territory. The kick from Mark Smith wasn't a good one, and unfortunately now they're paying as a result of that.
Well, now Great Britain, Joe Lydon, the young 19-year-old sensation, took the kick. He's put it into touch 15 metres into Western Division's side of halfway as they play it back to the halfback in Ashton. Ashton gives it to Crook, comes on to a beautiful pass to the other prop forward in Rain. He gets a good pass into the centres in the shape of Lydon. Lydon gets back to Ashton, looking in field. They're running well, stepping. He's up to 15 metres from the Western Division line before he's brought down by Jade. Gets up, plays it back to Noble, looks down the open side, gives a pass to Pinner, the lock. It's been intercepted though. It's been intercepted by the prop forward in McPhail, but he knocked it on in doing so, and play has stopped 25 metres out from or 30 metres out from the Western Division line, and we now see the first scrum of the match. They certainly threw the ball around then with one prop forward running off the other with those short passes.
Great Britain look good at the moment. They're throwing the ball around and they're showing us what ball skills they do have.
Scrum goes to Ashton. He makes a move with Pinner at the base of the scrum, but it was read beautifully by Lee Douglas, and he drove him 10 metres back.
What a good tackle that was.
Excellent tackle, 40 metres out. Ashton goes for a run, overhead pass, cuts out a man, gives it to the winger in the shape of, I've lost that winger, Des Foy. I wasn't expecting him. He was supposed to be a centre, and he's only been taken down 5 metres out. Gets it on to Pinner. Pinner on to Keith Ray. It's a bit difficult when they've changed their team at the last moment, but he was read and brought down 20 metres out. Gets back to Noble, on to Pinner. Pinner gives it to the centres in Mumby. Mumby draws a man, gives it to the fullback joined in Burke, but he's been taken down 15 metres out in the third tackle. Gets up, plays it back. Pinner, who's standing one off all the time, puts a little kick up. It's a beautiful kick too. Marty Gordon's under a lot of pressure there as Great Britain follow the ball through, but Gordon got to it first as he dived up in the air.
Awarded a try.
He's awarded a try. Well, I thought Gordon had that ball, but he's given the try to, I think, Lee Crooks, the prop forward.
Yes, he certainly, as Marty Gordon went up for the ball, it came loose, and the ball rolled further into the Western Division in-goal area, and Crooks just following through, put his hand on it, and the referee's awarded the try.
I think you'll notice already from the play that Harry Pinner, the lock forward for Great Britain, play is revolving around him, one off the ruck. He's the chap that does the little chip kicks, which Great Britain are renowned for, and in the traditions of a lot of lock forwards for Great Britain.
Yes, and certainly I think we've seen a lot of the ball skills that we know English footballers have, and they've been throwing the ball around nicely in this first half so far and putting a lot of pressure on the Western Division defence. I think they've held up pretty well so far, and to a certain extent it was a bit of luck of the draw try.
Well, Mick Burke, the fullback, has converted the kick from an easy position. So at Victoria Park, number 1 oval, we saw a scoreline reading Great Britain 6, Western Division 0.
If you're confused about what size microwave you should buy, confused about whether to buy a model that cooks by time or temperature, confused about whether some model's brown or not, then here's the answer for you. Ask about microwaves at Homecrafts. They guarantee they can answer all your questions on microwave cooking. See the range of Sharp microwaves today and ask how the ESP model works. If you're looking for a microwave, look no further than Homecrafts. Homecrafts, where price and friendly, efficient service is guaranteed. In Macquarie Street, Dubbo.
27-3, 2-2 Smart.
31. Back at Victoria Park, number 1, we have a scoreline reading Great Britain 6, Western Division 0. 5 minutes after the start, as Western Division have stolen the ball 30 metres out from the Great Britain line in the tackle. And once again, the Great Britain players on this occasion wouldn't get off the player. So referee Hannigan has moved in and awarded a penalty. As I said, 30 metres out and about 15 metres in from the sideline. Second rower, Brad Jade, is going to take a kick at goal at this occasion to get some points on the board for Western Division. But they've come back strongly there in the first tackle after the try to once again put pressure on Great Britain, which is excellent to see. Actually, going back on that try, just re-harping on that, Marty Gordon, I must admit, had absolutely no protection from his own players. He was left on his own and really couldn't be blamed for dropping that ball.
certainly, Phil. I think, in fact, he had more Great Britain players around him than anybody else.
Brandon Graham has an excellent kick, and it's gone right between the posts once again and around the corner kicker. So the Western Division now have their first points on the board to make the score. Great Britain 6, Western Division 2. Referee Hannigan has called play back to halfway with the centre Joe Lydon bringing the ball back for the kick-off. He's handing it on to the half-back in Ashton, who is placing the ball. This will certainly give Western Division a bit of encouragement for this game, I would say. It's something they would need to do is get on the board so that they can get those butterflies out of their stomach.
Certainly, Phil. I think being a soft try first up, it certainly would have upset the Western Division players, but they've come back strongly. They forced an error on Great Britain and received the ball, and from an ensuing penalty soon after, they've put their points on, and I think they'll go on from here.
Ashton's done a short, high kick-off, a very good kick. Western Division knocked it down, and Great Britain have got it back at 15 metres into Western Division's half. So that was very good play, and once more showing their skills that they can do. Second row, Burton's been tackled, plays it back to Noble, on to Ashton. Wide comes Pinner again. The man cuts out a man with a glorious pass, but it was a low pass, and Mark Smith was right on top of his opposite number in Mumby and got him straight away. Half-back Ashton has gone from dummy half, drawn a player, given it to Noble, the hooker, and he's made it to 30 metres out, 35 metres out from the Western Division line on the second tackle. They're certainly throwing this ball around. Pinner at dummy half, gets it onto the second rower in Goodway, but he's been taken 30 metres out from the Western Division line. Gets up, plays it to Pinner again, does a round around with Noble. Crooks, the big prop forward, holding the ball up, nearly got a pass away as he went down, but just couldn't on the last tackle. It's on the quarter line of Western Division with Great Britain attacking, leading 6-2. Pinner again, the man that does the kicks, and he's put a beautiful bomb. They've certainly learned how to do the Australian bomb right underneath the post, but Marty Gordon on this occasion took the ball well. Once again, he didn't have a lot of support around him, but he took it well. Referee Harrigan says there's a penalty there. The Great Britain players were in front of Pinner, the lock forward and kicker. So on this occasion, Marty Gordon, even though he took it well, it was to no avail as the penalty has gone to Western Division, 10 metres out from their own line and under the post. As centre Mark Smith from Narromine kicks for the line, doesn't find any ground at all actually, and they're still 10 metres from their own line in possession, 10 metres in as winger Williams comes in, takes it, goes straight at them. Oh, and he's lost the ball in a beautiful tackle, though. He's got to the ball with the winger and Drummond steps inside a player, goes for the sideline, and he's taken about 6 metres out in excellent play, but Williams will not be happy with that, with his first touch of the ball, losing it in some solid defence. Plays it on to Crooks. Crooks gives it to the other prop forward in Rain, and he shows the ball but runs himself, but the defence was waiting for him and takes him immediately. On to Ashton, the halfback. Pinner standing off in the lock. He's got the second rower in Goodway running off him, but he's dropped the ball, and it's been towed through by the 5'8 in Marla, but referee Harrigan said there's a knock on there on the quarter line of Western Division's territory, and so after 8 minutes of play, we find the Great Britain leading 6 points to 2, and Western Division, of those 8 minutes of play, 7.5 of them have been in the Western Division within 40 metres of their line, whereas Ted Goodwin told us before the game he wanted to play down their end, so he's not going to plan as yet.
All the pressure's been on Western Division so far in the first 8 minutes. Their game plan, they certainly haven't stuck to that as yet.
The scrum's been won by Western Division, and Douglas goes himself, but he's taken immediately, and on the quarter line, played it back to Jackson, the prop forward, gives it on to Jay at the second row, looks for the winger in Haynes, but there's nowhere to go. There's too much defence there. This is a young Great Britain side, much younger than we've seen in a lot of other tours, and once again, Western Division lose the ball in the tackle with hit by two big fellas in the prop forwards in Crooks, and also the second rower in, the other prop forward in Rain. But now we have Great Britain with the ball on the Western Division quarter line. As actually, there could be a penalty here. The Western Division man will not get off him in right, prop forward, but he does. They play it back. Gives it to Pinner on the front, open side. Onto the prop forward in Rain. He's been tackled by Jayat in a lovely tackle, and as he was, he knocked the ball down 20 metres out from Western Division line. So once again, we're seeing Western Division having to struggle in their defence, and they've had the ball on 3 occasions, have not held it for more than 2 tackles as yet, which is something they're going to have to work on.
It seems to be a problem they're having with the ball. I don't know, every time they get tackled, Western Division is spilling it. There's a penalty to Great Britain.
I must admit, before the game, it's showing what a professional outfit this Great Britain side are. They were all, an hour before the game throwing this ball around, and it does appear to be a brand new ball for the game to me.
Yes, I think that's the problem, Phil. It's a brand new ball, just certainly by the signs on the ball. It hasn't been used all that much before, and I think that's a little bit of a pity that they've introduced a new ball into an important game like this.
Well, Great Britain have the ball 20 metres out from the Western Division line on the second tackle, as second rower in Burton has been taken. Ashton cuts out 3 men with a pass to his 5'8 ball. It's been dropped, picked up by Western Division. It's given to Smith, but Smith knocks it on. And Great Britain now retain possession in centre. Mumby plays it back to Ashton, runs from dummy half. He likes running from dummy half, this little half-back.
He's a good player, this fella.
He's taken 30 metres out, plays it back to Noble. He's going for a run, gives it on to Pinner again. He's there all day. Gives it to the winger in Drummond. Drummond comes to Williams from Forbes and tries to hold him up, but he couldn't. Williams knocks him over immediately. Noble onto the second rower in Goodway. Goodway goes straight at them, but Jayat in particular went very low, and that's the way to tackle if you're going to stop these big Great Britain fellas. Plays it on to Ashton. Back it goes to Payne. Payne onto the other second rower in Burton, but he's taken immediately on the last tackle, 35 metres out, and I'd say it'll go back to Pinner. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. Pinner, look, he cuts a man out to Drummond. He's on his own out wide here. He's only got Williams in front of him, but Williams stood up and met him, and he's taken him over the sideline, only about 10 metres out, but referee Harrigan said, I am ruling the sixth tackle, and handed over 10 metres out from Western Division line as they play the ball back. Goes to the second rower in Miller, but Great Britain have found within the 5 metres, as Ray Collins was saying earlier, they'll try them out, and that's exactly what they did, but referee Harrigan was right on the spot and said, you're within the 5 metres, we're not playing it that way, and there's a penalty to Western Division, 10 metres out from their own line, as Brad Jayat kicks for the line, finds it on his own quarter. Hooker in the shape of Jackson comes up and takes the tap. Gives it on to Douglas. Douglas has McWhirter outside him. Jayat, the second rower, running off the 5'8". Goes across field, and he's taken 30 metres out from the Western Division line. Plays it forward, and I'd say there'll be a penalty there, yes. Jayat was unmarked in the play of the ball, very quickly got up and played it forward. Myler, who'd done the previous tackle, the 5'8" for Great Britain, thought he'd better knock him over in the process, but he came from an offside position in doing so. So there's a very bad mistake very basic mistake by Jayat. He's kicked for the line and didn't find it, and it's gone back down to the Great Britain 25 as Des Foy, their left winger, runs it up to 40 metres out from their own line. Plays it back onto Pinner, the lock forward, and he runs hard. He's made it up to 8 metres within halfway on the second tackle. And referee Harrigan is pulling one of the Western Division players out. It's the winger in the shape of Haynes. He must have gone in with he's gone in with an elbow, he indicated. He has gone into the tackle on Pinner with the elbow. This Pinner certainly dominated what's happening around these rucks too.
Well, that was basic bad football from Western Division. Jayat didn't find the line. I mean, schoolboys do that. They find the line. He tried to get too much territory, and now they're going to pay the penalty.
Great Britain have found the line. They didn't make much ground, but they found the line, which was important. 2 metres on their own side of halfway. It's given to Ashton. They're doing a run around, and it goes to the big second rower in Goodway, and he's gone straight through the palming players off, and he's made a 20-metre gain straight down the centre of the field in an excellent run. They're fired up, this Great Britain. They certainly want to win, and they want to prove to the Australian public what good footballers they are, and today is not going to be an exception if they keep this up. Noble plays it back to Ashton. Ashton gets it onto his 5'8" Myler. Myler onto Pinner again, standing there. Gets a glorious pass in the centre to Mumby. Mumby's only got one player in front of him. Draws him, gives it to Des Foy, the winger, and he's running around to put the ball down only about 3, 4, 5 metres from the post in a beautiful backline try, which I would say would be more reminiscent of Australian-type football, really.
Yes, that was an excellent try from Great Britain. They all culminated back when Jayat didn't find the line for Western Division. They had an opportunity to attack. He tried to get too much ground with the ball, a very elementary mistake, and three rucks later, Great Britain are in to score a very, very good try.
Well, I would say, speaking to their coach Frank Myler beforehand, he wants hard games for his players. He doesn't want an easy game, but also I'm sure he certainly doesn't want any criticism like was levelled at the tourists after the Riverina game. And they've come out here with a vengeance today. They're playing excellent football. They really are putting it right up to Western Division in the way they're playing the game. And I must say myself, I find this very much, first-class Australian-type football that they are playing here this afternoon at the moment.
Yeah, well, they're throwing the ball around. They're making use of the mistakes that Western Division are making, and they're capitalising on them as any good football team does.
Mick Burke, the fullback, round to the corner kicker. Once again had a fairly easy kick, and he's put it between the posts. So we now have a scoreline at number 1 oval, Dubbo that reads Great Britain 12, Western Division 2.
It's happened. Homecrafts have slashed the price of their entire range of bedding. Double beds, single beds, bunks, cots, divans and foam mattresses, all reduced to an all-time low. Listen to these specials. Sleepmaker double ensembles, $299. Sturdy tubular double bunk, including foam mattresses, $199. And a metre-wide foam mattress, only $19.95. Just a few of the fantastic bargains at Homecrafts. Homecrafts, your super discount store, Macquarie Street, Dubbo.
2 Sport, and it's now 16 minutes to 3, and we stand by to cross back to number 1 oval.
At number 1 oval, we have a scoreline that reads Great Britain 12, Western Division 2, as Great Britain have kicked for the line from 40 metres out from their own line, and they have found the line, found Williams, the winger, standing too far up, and they have found the line 10 metres from Western Division's line. So once again, we see Western Division hard on defence, and once again, I feel they have themselves to blame there because the winger was too close up. Great Britain saw what was going on and put the ball deep in 10 metres out from Western Division line. Halfback Douglas feeds the scrum, and it's a win to Great Britain against the head as Ashton falls on the ball from the scrum base. Plays it back to Pinner, the lock forward, gives it out to Myler. Myler has Lydon. They're standing waiting for Lydon, but he runs himself, but McWhirter is waiting for him and knocks him over on the quarter line. Western Division side, second tackle. Gets it to Pinner. Pinner has a second rower in the shape of Burton running straight off him in a good run, but he's taken 15 metres out from the Western Division line. Plays it back. Gives it to Pinner again. He's in everything, this fella. Breaks the first line. Gets it on to Little Ashton, the halfback. One man in front of him. Steps inside him. And he scored right next to the post.
Western Division is starting to open up now, and they've got a few problems around the fringe of the rucks. Ashton and Pinner are finding gaps, and the big men are starting to pour through.
Well, sorry, Phil. Certainly we're seeing a very gifted footballer in number 13 for Great Britain, Harry Pinner, playing at lock forward. He is involved in practically every play that they have, and he's been instrumental in all the tries that they've scored.
I must admit, I haven't heard of this chap before myself. Has he played much test football for Great Britain, do we know? I've got their line-up here, and yes, he's only, he's 27, and he's played 8 times since 1980, but
Tries been converted by Great Britain.
Going on this form, he's a player that we'll be seeing in the test this year, I'd say, if he keeps this up.
I think all the players, all the Great Britain players, Phil, are certainly on trial for their first test selection, because I don't think there are any of them really stand out, possibly Lydon and a few of those, Andy Gregory, but every one of these fellows will be certainly trying to get a test jumper.
Well, not only that, they've only got an average age of 23 in the whole touring party. So they're young fellas, and they've got to prove themselves in football yet, and that's what today is one of the days they're hoping to do that. As the kick goes down to their line, Des Foy, the winger, runs it up for Great Britain, and he's taken on the quarter line. Plays it back. Gets it to Crooks, but referee Harrigan says you're inside the 5 Western Division, and there's a penalty to Great Britain 30 metres out from their own line with 18 minutes of the game gone, and Great Britain leading 18 points to 2. Excuse me. I hope Western Division can tighten this up a bit, because I think this is one area which you should be able to give Great Britain a hard game in country football, and I just hope that they can come back into this and don't lose all their hope in this game. On halfway, ball's played back to Noble. Tap back to Noble, given to Ashton. He gives it to the front row and Crooks, but he's taken right on the halfway line as he gets up to play it back. Once again to Ashton. Ashton to the Pinner again. Pinner's got good way running off him. He's a big fella, but an excellent tackle from Mark Horton, the lock forward, as he's taking Pinner onto Crooks. Crooks gives a pass to the centres in Mumby, but he's dropped the ball, and Western Division have fallen on it as they come up with it right in the big prop forward, runs at them, but referee Harrigan once again says you're inside the 5 metres, so he's caught both teams in the 5 metres on a couple of occasions in this game, and a penalty goes to Western Division, 10 metres on Great Britain side of halfway in centre field. What's the penalty count?
Let's hope Western Division can use the ball now. They haven't held it for 6 tackles the whole of the game. The game's been going 19.5 minutes. There's another bad kick from Jade. I don't know what's the matter with this.
I'd say they're very nervous, actually. Let's give them credit that they haven't really settled down, and very nervous as they take the tap. 10 metres on Great Britain side of halfway. McWhirter, the 5'8", is taken immediately. Plays it back to Jackson. Jackson on to Jade, running crossfield. Tries to go on the outside, but there's nowhere to go there as he's taken beautifully by centre Mumby. And tackle low too. Gets up, plays it back to Jackson. Douglas Douglas on to Jane. Jane to the second row, Miller, and he's met with glorious defence from Goodway. A magnificent tackle. Mark Smith said, I want to get involved in this. Ran straight at them. Taken by second row, but can't stop him. That's what we need to see from Western Division. And he's made a 15-metre gain, and they're getting stuck into him too. That's excellent. That's what we need from Western Division. Mark Smith said, I'm sick of this mucking around. I want to get in close and get into these fellas. And that's what he did. And if I remember, he did that against New Zealand a couple of years ago too.
Much better stuff from Western Division. Mark Smith's showing his experience. He knows what it's all about, and he's putting the gravy in now.
Well, I think also, I don't think the Great Britain fellas like having somebody run at them as quite so hard as that either.
That's a better kick from Jade too.
And I think that's done the team a lot of good.
I think Mark Smith's really summed the situation up. Western Division were backpedaling all the time, and he thought, well, this is about time we really put it to them. And he took 4 of them on, and he came out on the front because they got the penalty. Western Division got the penalty out of it.
Got the tap, Douglas on McWhirter. He's got big front row McPhail, and he's dropped the ball on the first tackle. You can't do anything without the ball, and it's a first tackle. Great Britain come up with it 20 metres from their own line, so all that work for Mark Smith's been wasted in this occasion. Goes to Ashton, the halfback. He runs again from dummy half. He likes doing this, and he makes a good 5-metre gain before the lock forward. Horton gave him a little bit for his trouble in the tackle, and Western Division said we're going to get involved a bit more. Once again, Pinner puts the ball deep to the 25 of Western Division. Marty Gordon, the fullback, picks it up, runs into halfway, steps around the first player, but prop forward Crooks took him in a glorious low tackle. Plays it back to the centre, gives it on to Williams. Burst through. He's made a 15-metre gain in an excellent run, and that's the sort of stuff we now need to see. Jay runs from dummy half. He's running straight at them. The Great Britain don't look so good when they're running straight at them as they are now, and they've made it down the quarter. Played it forward, runs straight at them again in the 4th tackle. And another excellent run. Pinner, the lock, was there to stop him. McWhirter gets it wide to Horton, puts a big kick right over the line. As Big Berg, the fullback, comes back, lets it bounce, takes it over his own line, runs it back into play, and he's taken 5 metres in their own side. Well, this is a bit different. I don't think Great Britain like it when the team runs it quite as hard as
This is
they
good
are now.
stuff from Western Division. They're now turned the Englishmen around, and they're putting the pressure on them for some very, very heavy defence.
Yes, 2 and 3 tackles there. Tacklers going into the tackle, and that's making a difference to Western Division.
Well, the second rower in Burton has run straight at them, and he's made a good 15-metre gain and taking the ball on the 3rd tackle to their own quarter line. As he gets up to play the ball, plays it back to Noble. Noble on to Little Ashton. Little kick over the top. There's no one home for Western Division. If he gets there first, they're in trouble. But Marty Gordon, the fullback, came up, took the ball, runs it back at them. Coming up towards the corner, beats the first man. But he's taken in a lovely tackle from Brian Noble, a hooker, low and hard. Colin Wright, the prop, runs it at them, but there's nowhere to go there, and he's taking the second tackle once again on the quarter line as Western Division put on a bit of pressure. Douglas on the second row, Miller coming across field, but he's got nowhere to go there. Sorry, that was McPhail, the prop forward. He's taken Douglas on to McWhirter. McWhirter's got Spur, the centre outside him. Williams, the winger, one-on-one with Drummond, stands up, goes at him, bumps him, knocks Drummond over, and that's what we like to see in the 4th tackle on the quarter line as they stand up. A different Western Division side now, they're settled down. Jayat shows the ball, dummies, gets the pass on, 6 to go as Great Britain touch it, and Little Douglas is taken by Crooks and given a little for his trouble, a bit of needle to see if Douglas can hold onto it, but he ignored it and played football as Colin Wright is taken in a collar tackle by Goodway, who's having an excellent game the second row for Great Britain. Kicks the ball through on the dummy half, and once again, elementary mistake by
He was facing it the wrong way when he played the ball.
He couldn't see. He had his jumper pulled over the top of his head, and he couldn't work out where he was, and he turned and played the ball in the wrong direction, lucky not to be penalised.
And actually, Goodway, the second row, came up with it after doing that excellent tackle on him, and in what was a very good tackle, and he's playing very well. But Western Division have stood up in the defence here and knocked the 5'18" miler over, and he's dropped the ball in doing so. So we now see a scrum 30 metres out. Well, actually, with a bit of pressure put on them, Great Britain is starting to make a few mistakes in this game as well.
Well, they are too. Western Division are, have now suddenly found out that because they're a touring side, that they're not invincible, and they've put in some very hard tackles, Western Division, and the Englishmen are now starting to go backwards. Western Division won the scrum.
24 minutes gone in this game. Great Britain leading 18 points to 2 as Douglas is taken immediately by Crooks, the prop, breaking from the scrum. Plays it back. Gives it to McWhirter. Steps. Beats the first man. Goes through. Lost the ball. Picked up by second row Miller. Comes straight downfield. And he's taken on the second tackle 20 metres out. He gets up to play it. Plays it back to Jackson. Jackson onto Horton, the lock. McWhirter's got the big centre spur coming off him. And he runs hard and taken about 18 metres out in the 3rd tackle. No marker. Plays it forward. Runs straight at them. And he's made it to about 8 metres from the line on the 4th tackle. Now they're putting some pressure on Mark Smith. The centre goes straight at them. they're settling down and playing football and playing it hard. This has all started from what Mark Smith, you can see he was cranky earlier. He was cranky. They were pussyfooting. Let's not kid ourselves. They're playing nice little touch football. And Mark Smith was cranky. He ran at them. And I don't think they were expecting a man like that until they came to test football.
Well, I think Western Division suddenly decided that Great Britain aren't invincible. The first 15 or 16 minutes, I think they thought that they were because they'd come over here on an aeroplane. But Western Division have suddenly decided that they can beat Great Britain. And the way they're going at the moment, who knows what can happen. Mark Smith is a season's campaigner, and he's probably one of the most attacking players in Western Division. His experience in the side at inside centre starting to tell now. He stirred them up with a very, very good run earlier.
An excellent kick from Brad Jayat, and he's put it over the post. The Great Britain players are not very happy with that. That means that things are not going their way once they start to argue about that. So at Victoria Park, number 1 oval, we have a scoreline after 25 minutes of read. Great Britain 18, Western Division 8.
It's home laundry time at Home Crafts in Dubbo. Their entire range of washers and dryers are at an all-time low price. Known brands like Simpson, Hoover, Hitachi and Phillips are slashed in price. Home Crafts guaranteed friendly and efficient service at all times, and you just can't beat the knowledge of products they sell. For the guaranteed best price in town on washers and dryers, you've got to shop at Home Crafts. Home Crafts up from Riverdale, your super electrical discount store in Macquarie Street, Dubbo.
Now 5-3, TDU Sport.
And back at Victoria Park, number 1 oval, we have Western Division in possession. 10 metres from halfway as Prop McPhail is playing with the ball. Goes wide from Douglas to Jay Horton, the lock, and he's taken in a good tackle from Pinner, the lock forward. But halfback Ashton is found within the 5 metres and been penalised. 10 metres on Western Division side of halfway. 26 minutes gone in this game as Western Division have the penalty. 10 metres on their outside of halfway. Marty Gordon, the fullback this time, kicks to the line. He's found no extra ground at all, actually. At least he found the line, but he took the long way about that. He was only about 15 metres from the sideline on our side of the field.
Would have gained more out of a quick place kick in the centre of the field, Phil, I think. He's kicking it, but the distance that he gained was of no use to them at all.
Winger Haynes takes the tap and makes a good 8-metre gain and makes it to halfway. Jackson onto Douglas. McWhirter standing there. Runs at them. Takes the tackles. Still going. It's an excellent run of 15, 20 metres, and he's 10 metres into Great Britain's half. Gets up, plays it to Douglas. Douglas to Horton. Dummy. Steps inside. Beats the first line. Makes another gain of 5 metres, and we now have played 40 metres from the Great Britain line with Western Division in possession. 18-8 to score in favour of Great Britain. Douglas, McWhirter, Smith. Smith draws the defence, gives a pass on to centre in Spur, but Spurs take them immediately and loses possession. And Great Britain fall on it, but it's a knock-on from both sides. Referee Harrigan says we'll have a scrum, knock-on, as players 10 metres on Great Britain's side of halfway. 27 minutes into the first half with Great Britain leading 18 points to 8. For those interested in earlier game, Group 11 under-18s beat Group 10 36 points to 28. And we also need to remind people we have a couple of Man of the Match awards for the Western Division players. Homecraft, our regular sponsors here, have a filler shave, who will inscribe filler shave actually, worth $100 that will go to the Western Division player of the match. And also the local Group 11 referees and their sponsor Braemar are giving $100 to the Western Division player of the match. So all incentives for Western Division players against this young Great Britain side.
Western Division on the attack now.
30 metres out as the ball goes to big prop forward in right. He puts his head down and runs straight at them, but Pinner and second row Burton eventually stop him on the quarter. Jackson, the hooker, goes for a run from dummy half, and he makes a couple of metres and gets up to play back to right. Right's not watching, gets the ball on to Horton, shows it on the blind. Jayat comes on the open side, gets a pass down. They're walking already, Western Division. Mark Smith, he's running straight at them. He's going straight down. As he runs at the line, and he's only taken about a metre from the line. This fella's never seen Storm Mays. As Jayat, the dummy half, dives for the line, loses the ball over the line, picked up by Burke, the lock forward. Sorry, the fullback. I'm watching what's going on. There's a bit of a fight going on as he's forced over the line, and there'll be a line drop out under the Great Britain post. They don't like these fellas running straight at them, and that's exactly what Mark Smith loves doing.
Well, Mark Smith has just stamped himself again on this game. He's taking it right up to the Great Britain players, and they're not liking him at all because he's not a big man, but he's fairly wide and he can run fairly fast.
Lyde's done a glorious kick, 60 metres out on the full, taken by Gordon and run up to 40 metres out from the Great Britain line. Plays it back. Plays it on to the prop forward in McPhail. He runs straight across field. There's too much defence there, and they knock him over immediately. He gets up to play it on the second tackle. Back to Jackson. On Douglas, cuts a man out, gives it to McWhirter. Dummies, runs himself. He's made ground, gives it to Steve Miller, the second rower. He straightens up and he's taken it 30 metres out in the third tackle from the Great Britain line, with Great Britain leading 18-8 and 28 minutes gone. Plays it on, gives it to Horton. Horton goes straight at them. And Great Britain have got players lying everywhere at the moment. They're not recovering very well at all. Fourth tackle, plays it back, goes to the line, gives it to McPhail again, the big prop forward. But unfortunately, when they needed to spread it, he just put his shoulder down, went straight at them. Last tackle, as McPhail gets up to play it. Goes back to Horton. He's putting the bomb up. It's right underneath the post. There's only one. And it came out of his arm straight into McWhirter, standing right next to him, and never challenged, and he went over to score right underneath the post. So both teams have scored from a bomb, and both teams have had their fullback standing on their own out in the middle of the field with no support to protect them in the as they go up for the ball.
Well, that was good stuff from Western Division. On the fourth tackle there, the front rower took the ball up, settled the play down, went back to Horton. He put a very well-timed bomb up right beside the post. Who was there? Steve McWhirter. Scored next to the post.
Once again, the pressure came from Mark Smith early on. He was the man that did all the damage, and gee, I hope he's not injured. He's holding his shoulder there.
He's been walking around for about the last minute and a half, Phil, after his last run leading up to the previous almost try, and he's certainly feeling an elbow. I think his left elbow seems to be worrying him a little bit.
Well, he's very, very tough player. I'd be very surprised if we lost him in a game like this.
A very competitive player, one of the most competitive players who go around in Group 11 for many years, and he'll certainly take the lead.
They've converted the try.
He's converted the try. We now have a scoreline at Victoria Park, number 1 oval, that reads Great Britain 18, Western Division 14.
Homecrafts Dubbo, your electrical specialist, is just about the only place to shop for all your electrical needs. Homecrafts have a large variety of known brands on show at prices that can't be beaten. At Homecrafts, you'll receive friendly and efficient service at all times, and leave knowing that you've received one of the best deals in town. Call in today to Homecrafts for outstanding service. You'll find Homecrafts 2 doors from Riverdale. Homecrafts, your super electrical discount store in Macquarie Street, Dubbo.
2 Sports at 3:01.
Park number 1 oval with Great Britain leading 18 points to 14. Western Division on attack, in possession. 45 metres out from their own line on the third tackle as the second rower Miller gets up, plays the ball back, gives it to little Douglas. McWhirter there. He's got big right, the prop forward running up. He's lost the ball. He's lost the ball in the tackle, and I think Great Britain have come up with it 40 metres out from the Western Division line. Plays it back to Noble. Ashton, Pinner again. He needs to inject himself. Gives a pass to Drummond. He loves it. And now, Winger Haynes dive for the ball. He's tripped over in doing so, and he's been penalised. Ray Collins, I can't say I saw that. Can you tell me what that was for?
Yes, he's been penalised for not getting up and playing the ball. He retained the ball on the ground, but a Great Britain player came through and put a hand on him, and then moved, more or less moving into a marking position, and he stood up and continued to run. So the referee is penalised him for not regaining his feet and playing the ball.
33 minutes of the first half gone. Great Britain had taken the penalty 10 metres into Western Division's half. The score reading Great Britain 18, Western Division 4. Ashton runs across field, cuts out a man, gives it to Crook. The big prop forward straight down the centre, and he's made a 5-metre gain to 45 metres out from Western Division line. Ashton, he loves to run from dummy half, this little half back. He runs himself, but he's taken immediately. I think they've woken up to that one, and they're looking for him from dummy half. Plays it back to Noble. Noble on to Pinner again, who's injecting himself. Gives it to Mick Burke, the fullback, joined the line. Gets a pass to Des Foy, the winger. Comes in field, beats 2 men. Beats another one, but he's eventually taken by McWhirter, I believe, 30 metres out from the Western Division line. Third tackle, Pinner does a run around with little halfback Ashton. Myler, the 5'8", shows the ball. Half dummies, runs himself. Nowhere to go as he's taken on the quarter line. Gets the ball on the open to Pinner. Pinner comes in field. He's got the prop forward in Payne. Gives it to the second rower in Goodway, and he's made it to 10 metres out on the last tackle. 10 metres out, and there's Western Division desperately need to hold their defence here. As I see the Great Britain managers yelling at them what to do. Ashton out to Myler. Myler on to Pinner. Pinner on to Burke. Burke onto the winger at Foy. Steps inside. They're in trouble here. Gets a pass back to Mumby, the centre, but he's going backwards. Nowhere to go. On the last tackle, they're throwing it anywhere. Myler's 20 metres out. Puts a kick up. Straight up in the air. Marty Gordon comes under it and takes it beautifully. beautifully.
Taken under a great deal of pressure, that one. Well done.
Excellent take, 10 metres out from his own line. Plays it back. Great Britain appear to be offside there, but referee lets it go on. Then they've run it, Western Division on the second tackle, have run it out 15 metres from their own line. I believe the crowd agree with me, actually, about where they're standing there. As you said to us, they'll try and crib the 5 yards if they can. McWhirter gets up, plays it to Smith. Smith runs across field, runs straight at them, cuts out a man, gets the winger Haynes on his own, comes back infield. Good run, straight down. 40 metres out from his own line, but the little halfback Ashton came across, and eventually the prop and Crooks coming back eventually tackles him. Plays it. McWhirter cuts out a man to the centres into Spur. Spur's being held up by the second rower in Burton, and he's got nowhere to go as Burton knocks him over. 40 metres out on the last tackle, Western Division's end of the field as they play the ball. Goes back to Jane. Bad pass, under pressure, gets a kick in, but it's gone nowhere really. Only 10 metres in Great Britain side of halfway as Burke has the winger Drummond coming, links up with him, runs across field, straightens up, beats the first man, goes to halfway, but McWhirter and Miller are waiting for him there and they knock him over right on halfway. 35 minutes gone. Great Britain leading 18-14 as Western Division to come back from an 18-2 position after 20 minutes. Gets up, plays it back. Crooks. Crooks looks, no one there. They're slowing up. He has to run himself, but they look a bit tired there. Normally he would pass the ball as he went down, but he couldn't on that occasion. Gets up, plays it back to Ashton. Ashton's got Pinner. He's injecting himself again. He's and he's passed it off the ground.
Passed it forward.
Yes, he passed it off the ground and passed it forward.
Yeah, I think he sort of got a bit disorientated there. He wasn't quite sure where he was.
But that was a beautiful tackle. I didn't pick the player up. Did anyone see him pick him up and dumped him there?
I think it was the centre three-quarter.
In Spur.
Yeah.
Williams takes a tap, the winger, runs straight at the beats the first man, goes through the first line, gets a pass back, picked up by Jackson. A very bad pass, but he picked it up well, and they're 11 metres into Western Division side of halfway. Williams goes himself, beats the first two tackles, but Lyne came from behind in the centre for Western Division, knocked him over and he knocked the ball. Actually, Williams has lost the ball on 3 occasions in this game. Pass goes straight across field to Pinner. They're running it straight across field, gives it to Mumpy, the centre. Mark Smith's waiting for him, beats him. But McWhirter comes across and knocks him over 7 metres from halfway on the second tackle. Gets up, plays it to Noble, runs across field, links up, gives it, sorry, it was Pinner again. Links up to Burn, but a top tackle by Douglas. Gets up, plays it to Ashton again, the halfback runs from dummy half, beats the first line, but prop forward right, knocks him over 10 metres into Western Division side of halfway. Great Britain in an attack. Played to Pinner. Pinner onto the front row, Crooks. Crooks gives it to 5'8" Miler, but they're waiting for him, and Horton, Hullock knocks him over immediately. Plays it on to Pinner, goes for the line, deep, right back towards the Western Division try line, but it's gone much too deep, much too deep, and it goes out over the dead ball line, so we will see Western Division bring it back to the quarter line with 37 minutes gone. Great Britain are leading 18 points to 14, with Western Division to take the tap in the shape of prop forward right on the quarter. He dummied, Great Britain ran at him, and as they went back, he took it, made 10-metre gain. Right, takes it 35 metres out from their own line. Plays it back to Jackson. Jackson on to McPhail, the prop forward. He's a willing lad, and he runs at them, and he's made it to 40 metres out in the second tackle. They're stretching this Great Britain side. Plays it on. Gives it from Douglas to the second rower in Miller. Miller ducks under a high tackle from Burton, the second rower, but taken low by Noble. Third tackle. Douglas on the Horton. Little chip over the top. No one there. He's following it through, but the prop forward in Payne takes the ball, dives on it, gets up and runs about 8 metres, so he's just in Western Division side of halfway on the first tackle. Great Britain leading 18-14. Plays it back to Pinner. Pinner has second rower in Burton running off him, but he's got nowhere to go there, and knocked over immediately by Steve Miller, who's done a lot of tackling for Western Division. Gets up, plays it to Burton. Ashton's got Goodway running off him. He's holding, shows it, gives it to Ashton again. Got straight through the quarter line. He's got the fullback in front of him. Gives it to front forward. Crooks comes inside them, but he's taken in a glorious tackle by Jayett and also Lee Douglas. Western Division need to hold on here with 2 minutes to go. Gets the ball to Miler. A long one over the top to Foy. He's got no one there as he heads for the left-hand corner. To try to push the ball over in the left-hand corner with only 2 minutes to go. Great Britain have come back in the shape of winger Des Foy to score in the far corner, make the score 22 points to 14.
Where we saw Great Britain stretched Western Division out and moved the ball down the left-hand side, and resulted in a try for Des Boy, who every time he shots the ball today has looked very, very good. I think he's a big man, but he's shown a lot of pace, and he's done some good things with the ball. In fact, I was just thinking that we haven't seen much of Joe Lydon in this game. I don't know whether he's injured or what the score is, but Joe's been very quiet today.
It's about the only thing that Joe Lydon's done in the game, Kevin, is a nice kick that he put downfield earlier, which is a great touch-finding kick. But certainly he hasn't been greatly involved in the running of the ball.
I think on one occasion here, England were attacking in that far corner, and Joe was standing on the halfway line with his hands on his hips. So I don't know whether that's an indication of things to come, but
You're not very impressed with him at this stage?
Well, Joe hasn't injected himself. Maybe he's carrying an injury, or he's just waiting for the right opportunity to come along.
Well, I know that Frank Myler did state earlier that he wanted to play Joe in as many games as he can to see if he's up to test standard at 19 years of age. But and of course he'll be playing in as many games, so he may have an injury. Fullback Burke kicked right from the sideline on the eastern side, but the kick was wide, so it's 22 points to 14 as Western Division come back at half-time. The Hooter has just gone with the score at number 1 oval, Dubbo, Great Britain 22, Western Division 14.
If you're confused about what size microwave you should buy, confused about whether to buy a model that cooks by time or temperature, confused about whether some models brown or not, then here's the answer for you. Ask about microwaves at Homecrafts. They guarantee they can answer all your questions on microwave cooking. See the range of sharp microwaves today and ask how the ESP model works. If you're looking for a microwave, look no further than Homecrafts. Homecrafts, where price and friendly, efficient service is guaranteed. In Macquarie Street, Dubbo.
9 minutes past 3, 2 Sport. Number 1 oval, Dubbo. We have a scoreline at half-time that reads Great Britain 22, Western Division 14. For the statistics on the first half, Ray Collins.
Well, in the penalty department, Western Division is currently leading with 9 penalties. Great Britain have received 5. In the scrums, there have only been 4 scrums decided. Western Division have won 2 of those, both of them being their loose head. Great Britain also have won 2, but they took a tight head away from the Western Division pack. In the changeovers on the 6th tackle, we've only seen 1. We've seen a number of bombs and a reasonable amount of line kicking, so there's only been the 1 changeover after 6 tackles.
Kevin James, your thoughts on that first half?
Well, I think for the first 16 minutes, obviously it was all Great Britain. They threw the ball around, put plenty of pressure on Western Division, who went backwards, and at one stage were down 18 points to 2, simply because I think Western Division have a number of young fellows in the team. They were very nervous, and they made a lot of elementary mistakes. They didn't hold the ball for 6 tackles up until around about the 20th minute of the game, when suddenly, I think it was around in the 19th minute of the match, Mark Smith took the ball up, took 4 Englishmen to stop him, and Mark showed his other 12 teammates what it was all about, and he threw the ball down on the ground and marched back, and from that point on, Western Division have come right back into this game. The score at 22 points to 14. For Great Britain, the players that are standing out at the moment, Des Boy, the winger, every time he shuts the ball, he's looked very good. He's a big man, he's lots of pace, and he's always in position for that final pass. The halfback, Ray Ashton, has been everywhere in defence and attack. Harry Pinner has impressed me. He's put up the bomb a couple of occasions with pinpoint accuracy, and he's a player that is possessed of a lot of skills, as most Englishmen are. Andy Goodway, the second row, has impressed me too. He's come onto the ball on a number of occasions, but I think in the last 10 minutes or so it's been all Western Division, except for a try that Great Britain scored. And Western Division were, I think, just relaxed for that moment. We certainly have a game on our hands here. I don't think Western Division are out of it by any long shot, with players like Mark Horton, Brad Jade giving all, Steve Miller, the other second row, he's having a fine game, as are the halves, captain from Gilgandra, Steve McGuirter, and Lee Douglas. Obviously, the player, as far as I'm concerned, for Western Division has been Mark Smith. He's instilled some fire and put a bit of pride into Western Division, and as I said, I don't think they're out of this game, not by a long shot.
I'm a bit disappointed in one aspect. Actually, Wilfred Williams runs very hard, and you can count on him to bump off a man, but he keeps losing the ball in the tackles, and this has been very costly to Western Division. He lost the ball just a couple of minutes before half-time, which eventually led to a Great Britain try and given them a fairly handy lead.
Well, I think actually Wilfred's style of running feels part of his problem. He goes in with the ball held in front of him with his elbow protecting the ball, uses that elbow to bump the player off, and I think a couple of the balls are being used today. They're having a lot of trouble holding it. Yes, I think it's just slipping out.
I think you're right there, Ray. One of the balls is absolutely brand new, and it's a shame that they have to produce balls like this on a day such as today, because it does tend to bring in elementary mistakes. All the players were nervous in the first 15 or 20 minutes, and it didn't produce the football I think that we expected to see. They have an old ball which was thrown in, and that's when we saw Western Division come back into the game. Whether that's any omen or not, I'm not sure, but maybe the Western Division supporters should go and grab that new ball and take it away somewhere.
Steve McWernan, the 5'8 captain for Western Division, I think they'd have been lost without his cover defending. For a 5'8, he's got through an enormous amount of tackling when it appears the player was through the gap. He's come from nowhere and done a lot of low tackling to, what I feel, keep Western Division in this game with his tackling alone.
Yeah, well, Steve's a big match player. He's been around. He knows what's going to happen. He knows where to be, and I think he's been an influence on the players, particularly in the last 10 minutes when they've come back into the game. He's popped up everywhere in defence, and he's there for that second ball off the ruck in attack.
One of the things there, if I was one of the Great Britain officials, would worry me a little bit, particularly in relation to the build-up towards the first test, which isn't all that far away. Certainly Great Britain looked good in the first 10-15 minutes, but they looked good because Western Division were really disorganised. They weren't moving together in defence. They weren't hitting the tackles 2 and 3 men at a time, and so obviously they were helping Great Britain look as good as they did. But when the pressure was put on them, which Mark Smith, to me, he really has been a difference between the Western Division of the first 10 or 15 minutes and the Western Division we saw at the end of the first half. He made the difference by putting a lot of pressure on Great Britain, and Great Britain started to walk, and there were gaps appearing everywhere. And I think if Western Division can come out and do the same in the second half, we could easily see a Western Division win.
It'll be interesting to see what plan Ted Goodwin adopts in the second half. This morning, talking to him, he wasn't particularly sure what method or how they were going to play the Englishmen in the second 40 minutes. He made it clear that the first 40 hopefully will be played in the Englishman's 22-metre area. When Western Division did that, they were able to put on 14 points very convincingly. I just hope that the younger players in the Western Division side heed Ted Goodwin's advice. Teddy, as we all know, has been around. He's an international of fine credentials, and if anyone's going to pull off an upset today, well, it'll be Ted Goodwin's guile and his experience, and it'll be interesting to see now, because the Englishmen are running towards the west. They'll have the sun in their eyes. Western Division boys have nothing to lose. They're only 8 points behind, and interestingly enough, the Riverina game during the week, Englishmen led Riverina 14 points to 0. So if that's any indication, maybe Western Division boys can come back in this game.
Well, don't forget, we also have awards here for the Western Division players. We have a couple of Man of the Match awards, which will be given to the Western Division. Our usual sponsor up in Dubbo each week is Homecraft, with their manager Graham Stewart, a great supporter of the game up here, and he's once again given his electric filler shave, which has been inscribed for on the occasion. So that will be a great prize, $100 worth of filler shave to the player of the match for Western Division today. And while I'm at it, I must send a cheerio to Ashton Stanford, the manager down in Homescraft Bathurst, and I hope he is listening to us, and remind all the people in Bathurst to call into Homecraft for all their electrical gear, because they're a great store and a great supporter of rugby league in the West. Also, thanks very much to the Group 11 referee sponsor in the form of Braemar. Braemar have been sponsoring only this year the referees for our group, and they've come up with $100, isn't it, Ray?
Yes, Phil, Braemar and Keys on Trading, who are the Braemar representatives in Dubbo, they've given a $100 open order to Merlin's Kitchen Appliances to the Western Division player of the match. As Phil has already said, Keys and Trading and Braemar are the sponsors of Group 11 this year, and it's great to see that sponsorship with the referees. But a $100 open order, and we don't know whether it'll be the same player, because we'll be choosing the Homecraft award, but the people choosing the referees award, of course, will be the touch judges and the referee of the game.
Well, we have one replacement for actually the Great Britain side's on the field, and they are the same as the first half. Dubbo Sims, second rower, is on the field for Western Division for the second half, and he's a tackling machine too, and something they need to stop these big forwards for Great Britain coming through. Western Division kick off, put the ball back to second rower in Goodway. He runs straight up at them, but he's got nowhere to go as he's taking a lovely tackle from Ken Fisher. Gets up, plays it back to Noble. Noble on the other second row, Burton. He runs straight at them, but there's three Western Division players there to take him, particularly Horton and Jayad, as they knock him over. Gets up, plays it back to the prop forward in Payne. He runs straight at them, but his opposite number, McFarlane's waiting for him and knocks him over in the third tackle. Gets up, plays it back, gets it wide to Lydon. Lydon's looking to kick. He hasn't got time as McWhirter ran at him, draws a player, gives it to Desjoy, the winger, stands a man up, runs straight at them, but he's run into touch 10 metres into Western Division side of halfway as Joe Lydon was forced to run that ball. McWhirter read what was happening and ran from the dummy half to stop him getting his kick in. Lydon had nowhere to go, doubled around to the blind side, had his winger Desjoy, and he did very well. Once again made 15 metres from nothing, actually.
Illawarra 8, Manly 0.
Referee Harrigan says, I want it again, thank you. As Douglas feeds it, gets the head, goes to Great Britain, goes into the 5'8 miler. Burke joins in, gets a beautiful pass to Lydon, cuts one out, gets it onto his partner in Mumby, but the pass is behind him, and he's got nowhere to go there, but he jumps out of a tackle, he's still going. He's down to 30 metres, gives it to Drummond, the winger, as he comes infield. But he's lost the ball in the tackle, and Western Division's Loch Horton comes up with it. Plays it back to Miller. From dummy half, he goes straight through them. The defence from both sides a bit feeble in the beginning of the second half, and he's taken down 8 metres from the halfway of the second tackle. Plays it to Douglas. Douglas onto Horton. Goes at them, but there's nowhere to go there. And once again, he's 8 metres from halfway on the third tackle as he gets up and plays it back to Jackson. Douglas, McWhirter standing there, looks, dummies, goes through, looks for a man inside, Smith, but he can't get the pass away as he's knocked over in the fourth tackle. Smith goes into dummy half. Yes, Horton coming to blind. He looks for the kick. Good kick too. Excellent kick. He's taken it down to 35 metres out from the Great Britain line as the winger Joy probably made his first mistake. He was not standing back at all. He was up in the front line, and there was nobody there as Horton read what was happening and did an excellent kick and found the line 35 metres out from their Great Britain line.
We can see what Teddy Goodwin's tactics are straight away. Obviously, same as the first. Play the game down in Great Britain's territory.
Penrith 6, Parramatta 2.
They win the scrum. Ashton goes back for it. Runs around, but Horton, the lock, is rare to knock him over, and he does so. Lock forward in Pinner, runs at them from dummy half, but he's taken immediately, once again, by his opposite number, Horton. Ashton gives it to Goodway. He's a hard fellow. He runs straight at them. Gets a glorious pass back to the 5'8 miler. Miler makes it up to 5 metres from halfway, but Jayad knocks him over in a beautiful low tackle as he plays it back to Ashton. Ashton comes back the blind, gives it to Crooks, the prop forward. They're starting to walk, these fellas, and the second half's only just started.
Very cumbersome there, Lee Crooks.
Yes, he and the other fella is second row. Pine has just put the ball down in halfway, so we see a scrum. But the other fella is Goodway, who made such an impression for 20 minutes. Even then, he made a break, but they look a bit tired to me. I think they have a lot of conditioning to do if they're going to stretch Australia this year.
Yeah, I think the Western Division, there's their opportunity to get back into this game because the Englishmen are definitely wanting for fitness.
The ball goes in, comes out straight out, but referee Harrigan says it's Western Division's ball, and he lets it go as he plays it back to Horton, onto McWhirter. Marty Gordon comes in, cuts in the first line, goes through, but Piner, who to me has been the player of the match so far, knocks him over. The lock forward brings Great Britain 3 minutes on their side. Long pass to McWhirter, cuts a man out, beats him, runs straight at them. He's made it up the corner, but Drummond comes and knocks him over. He gets passed back to Spur, but they're waiting for it to knock him over straight away. Douglas on McWhirter. Good look infield to Smith, running straight at them, but it's a beautiful tackle from Crooks, the prop forward, and he's knocked over straight away. Interfered with the play the ball, I believe it was, as Smith attempted to play the ball back on the quarter line in Great Britain's territory. He attempted to scrummage the ball back, which was from an offside position. So referee Harrigan set a penalty to Western Division, 22 metres out, adjacent with the post, as second rower Brad Jayad is going to attempt to kick at goal. With 5 minutes gone in the second half, Great Britain are leading 22-14.
Western Division obviously have come out in this half determined to settle down into a pattern, which they've done. They're trying things. They're putting on moves. McGurder's switching the play there. We saw him switching back inside to Mark Smith coming on the boil. The Englishmen are starting to backpedal now.
Actually, this Mark Horton too impresses me in the last 10 minutes before half-time, and also the first half. He's playing a very big game for Western Division.
Jones kicked the goal for Western Division.
we now have a scoreline after 6 minutes of the first half to reach Great Britain 22, Western Division 16, and I can tell you we've got ourselves one football game here at Victoria Park, as Great Britain are not looking very happy with proceedings at the present moment. Also, the penalty count, what is it against them?
Well, in the second half at the moment, there has been the one penalty, so the penalty count at the moment is 10-5 against Great Britain.
So it's a 2-1. I'm sure they'll have something to say about that. But as you said before the game, Ray, these teams will always try the referees out.
Well, I think they're not so much trying them out, Phil, it's just they're more competitive. They like to try and get inside the 5 if they can, and the referee's doing a great job in making sure that they stay where they're supposed to.
Excellent kick-off. It was put up by Ashton, only 10 metres, very high in the air to little 5'8", Steve McWhirter, and he's a gutsy player. He took it under pressure very early. The play goes straight across field. West Division are running it. They eventually goes through 4 sets of hands to Ken Fisher, and he's knocked down 40 metres out from his own line on the second tackle. Gets up, plays it to Jackson. Jackson gives it to Miller, the second row. I'll get his name in a minute. And he made a 5-metre gain. He's a good step of this fella. That's how you can pick him. Gets it on to Douglas McWhirter. McWhirter's got the Marty Gordon, the fullback outside him, goes to run around Des Foy on the outside, the winger, but he can't do so. Plays it forward, runs straight at them again. But he's Mumby and Goodway are ready for him and take him on the last tackle. 10 metres on Western Division side of halfway. Goes on the Horton. Little kick, he's knocked over by Noble. Smith is ready for it. He runs at Foy, but Foy took it under pressure and is knocked over immediately by Neil Moy, the other replacement for Western Division. So we have both replacements on for Western Division. Not quite sure who's off.
I think Ray Spur's come off.
Ray Spur, right. Well, I'm sure they'll lose nothing by Neil Moy being on there. His football this year and last year has been excellent for Park.
Cronulla 12, West 2. Football I think they need, Western Division need at the moment. Someone who'll go in very hard and put a bit of pressure on the Great Britain players. I'm very impressed with Mark Horton, as you were saying, Phil. He's come out in the second half really determined to do something.
Payne, the front row, runs it at them, and he's been taken down 40 metres out from Western Division's line. Crooks, the other prop, straight up, runs straight at them, beats the first line, and Miller, the second rower, comes around to eventually take him in the second tackle, 30 metres out. Do a run around, running back to the line. Gives it to Pinner, the lock forward, draws him, but Mark Smith read the play and knocked him over, ball and all, in what could have been trouble. There was an overlap there for Great Britain. They go in the open. Crooks under the big bird, second row, but Ken Fisher and Hooker Jackson knock him over immediately, 30 metres out in the third tackle. Get up, play Ashton, runs again from dummy half himself. They should be ready for this because he's been doing it all day. He's knocked over in the last tackle as Noble comes up. He plays it back into Pinner. Pinner does the bob right underneath the post. Marty Gordon's back there on his own. He takes it beautifully. Beautiful take. Very well taken under pressure. This fella doesn't mind a bit of pressure on him.
He's having a good game, actually, Marty Gordon, and it was good to see this time, Phil, that a few Western Division players, particularly Lee Douglas, were back there to support him.
To support him, certainly. But it's a shame that bomb went early in the game because I'd say it was only nerves that made him drop it. The dropout by Horton's gone back to 45 metres out from their line. Berg, the fullback, comes up, steps inside, beats the first line. Nearly beats the second line, actually. Still going. He well run. 30 metres out from their line on the first tackle. Gets up, plays it back to Noble, the hooker. Runs himself, makes it up to the quarter. Gets a terrible pass straight on the ground. McWhirter, the Western Division 5'8", captain, comes up with the ball. Gets it out to Neil Moy, but that's a very bad mistake once again. Got here into the game. Nerves again, I think.
That's the first time that Neil Moy's had an opportunity to touch the ball, and I think he might be a little bit nervous at this stage.
He was also looking out wide to see who was there for him to pass it on to. He was going to do a quick hands job, but unfortunately the ball came to him just as his eyes were diverted.
Scrum win to Great Britain.
They've done a run around with Pinner and Noble and Ashton. The pass goes from Drummond straight along the ground, and it's been knocked on by Great Britain on the first tackle. So as the teams, I'd say, as Great Britain are getting tired, they're starting to make elementary mistakes early, and as Western Division settle down and lose their nerves, they're not making so many mistakes. So we could have an interesting game here with Great Britain leading 22-16, 9 minutes into the second half, with Western Division to feed the scrum, about 28 metres out from their own line. Fed the scrum, but it's come straight back out the same tunnel as Douglas is asked to feed it again. The pack goes down. Hooker Jackson can't get his head in. Douglas is letting the referee know, but it wasn't to any avail because referee Harrigan said you could put your head in if you wanted to, Jackson. You obviously are trying to crib, and he's given a penalty to Great Britain. They've taken the tap, 30 metres out. Crooks, the big prop, runs at them. He makes it to 20 metres out in the first tackle. Great Britain leading 22-16. Western Division need to hold them out. Play it back, onto Ashton. Ashton gives it to Pinner, again standing off Myler. Myler cuts out wide in the centre. Gives a pass behind the centre. He chases the ball, he's only got the fullback Burke, but the ball goes over the sideline. 10 metres into Great Britain side of play. And a bit of line play.
Mark Smith gave Mick Burke, the English fullback, a bit of a pat on the head. He came back up the field to play.
And Mick Burke, being a true professional, was looking for a penalty, saying, look what he did to me, touch judge. But he had
North Sydney 6, Souths 4.
a little tap itself. There was nothing in that. If they really want to be hit by Mark Smith, they'd know it.
That's for sure, especially the way he's playing today.
There's a bit of a dispute about possession for the half, but Douglas puts it in Western Division. It comes out to Western Division, and Douglas is taken immediately by Pinner. Gets up, plays it back to Heaslock, Hort gives it to McWhirter, straightens up, goes to the line. There's nowhere to go there, and he's taken 10 metres on Great Britain side of halfway. Second tackle, Great Britain leading 22-16. Goes on to McPhail, the prop, runs straight at them, shoulder charge by Burton, and driven across field, and also Piner, the second lock forward, and he's tackled. Gets it on to Douglas. McWhirter. Smith gives it on to replacement in Boy, but he's taken in a high tackle by Des Boy. He came in from the wing to take the centre, and once again, elementary mistake by Great Britain. Des Boy tackled him. Neil Boy got up to play the ball. Boy's feet were in the way. He played it back. Boy knocked the ball towards the Great Britain side as he did so. Not only is Great Britain players not happy about it, but I can tell you the bench for Great Britain are very upset by it. But if they do that sort of thing, they must expect penalties. They've got to get their feet out of the way.
Yes, they didn't clear the ruck there. Quite an elementary mistake by Great Britain.
But I know he's yelling at the referee. I think you should work on your players doing something about it. The ball goes across to McWhirter. Has Miller, the big second rower, coming straight off him. But they're ready for him, and Pinner and Bird knock him over immediately. 40 metres out from the Great Britain line. Prop dummy half goes Jackson for a run, and a good 5-metre gain straight down the centre of the field. 35 metres out as he plays back to Miller. Miller on to Douglas. Gives it to Jade. Across, crisscross. Gives it to Horton, straight through the centre. But nowhere to go there is Big Lee Crooks, who tackles low, who tackles well. Knocks him over in the third tackle. Douglas. McWhirter. On to Neil Moy. Steps inside. Nowhere to go. Gives it back to Douglas. Straightens up. Ducks his head. But once again, they're going nowhere there as they're running back in the Great Britain defence in the centre of the field all the time. And he's knocked over by Bird. Plays it back. Boy. Jane running around him. Looks for Smith inside. Two players against him, so he decided to take one totally out of play, and he has played Mark Smith out, and he appears to be cold on his back. But I can tell you, if it's a Mark Smith I know, he won't leave this field. They'll have to give him smelling salts and put him back on the field, but he's not going to leave playing this Great Britain side in that on his back.
No, I think, again, great work from Mark Smith. He's certainly showing the true Mark Smith that we know we can see when the big occasions come along. He's certainly still down on the ground. He was knocked flat, and he didn't seem to know much about what was going on.
Did you see the way he took the ball right up to the fullback, didn't shirk it, so he left himself open for that, but he wasn't worried about that as long as the try was there.
Yes, well, Mark, we all know he's a fine attacking player, and again, he's just showed us why he's one of the best players in Western Division. He drew the defence team, let the ball go, and as a result, there's 6 points.
Jayan has kicked the goal from right in front, so after 13 minutes into the second half, we have a scoreline at number 1 oval that reads Western Division 22, Great Britain 22.
It's happened. Homecrafts have slashed the price of their entire range of bedding. Double beds, single beds, bunks, cots, divans and foam mattresses, all reduced to an all-time low. Listen to these specials. Sleepmaker double ensembles, $299. Sturdy tubular double bunk, including foam mattresses, $199. And a metre-wide foam mattress, only $19.95. Just a few of the fantastic bargains at Homecrafts. Homecrafts, your super discount store. Macquarie Street, Dubbo.
Well, back at number 1 oval with the score 22 all and the crowd going wild. Western Division have the ball 40 metres out from their own line as the prop forward McPhail ran straight at them. It took 2 to stop him too, I might add. As it goes to Horton, the lock, he goes for the big kick, but it's too far and gone over the sideline, and the play will go down with a scrum 40 metres out from Western Division's line with the score 22 all. The crowd excited and screaming their support for a Western Division side that came back after 20 minutes down 18 points to 2. What a great game of football we got here.
Well, the man of the match, Mark Smith, before we crossed, he ran back up the field after being flattened by the fullback Burke, and the crowd rose to their feet as a man and cheered him on, and that's all that Mark needed. He's back in this game now.
Weiler has just been picked up after winning the scrum by little Steve McWhirter and put right on his backside. They play the ball back. Peter says, I've got to get into this game. Draws the defence, gives it to Foy, the winger. He runs at them and he's brought down 28 metres out from the Western Division line by Ken Fisher on the second tackle. Referee Harrigan said, Fisher, get off him. You're not even attempting to, and he gives a penalty, much to the crowd's disgust, I might add. 28 metres out as Ashton, the halfback, kicks for the line. Finds it on the quarter line.
That was a good tackle too by Ken Fisher, the Dubbo Sims lad.
Yes, I thought he was a bit quick asking him to get off then.
I think the penalty was well deserved, but I think it's a compliment to Fisher that he went in so hard. I think a lot of the Western Division players, they're certainly looking for things to do at the moment, which they weren't doing in the first 15 minutes of the game.
Great Britain have got the ball.
On to Ashton. Ashton cuts out a man, gives it to the 5'8 Myler. Myler into the centres in the shape of Mumby. He gives it on the line. We've seen him at last. He's been just put on his backside by Neil Moy, who said, pleased to see you in Dubbo.
Assisted by Mark Smith.
Assisted by Mark Smith. They play it back. Great Britain are making a lot of mistakes, and they have a very easy crowd here too, I might add, as Myler's put down. Plays it back to Noble. Noble gives it to Rain, the front rower.
That's 3 tackles in a row from Neil Moy for Parks.
He's got nowhere to go. Plays it back. Noble, Ashton, Piner again. They need this fella to do something. Little pass. Drop the ball. The replacement player, Ken Fisher. 1 man outside him. He's got the figure in it. He's going to go.
Try by Western Division.
He scored a try.
Put that down to Ken Fisher from the sideline. Put that down to Ken Fisher from Dubbo Sims.
Man, his selection was criticised, and he just seized that ball and away. He went for a second row. He showed a lot of pace. Great Britain was struggling to pick him up, and he had the sense to look. He had a winger with him, and away they went.
He showed a lot of maturity too. He waited till the defence came. He looked. He knew he had support in the shape of Les Haynes, and let the ball go. Beautiful try. Put that down to Ken Fisher from Dubbo Sims.
Yes, he could have gone at least another 10 metres on his own, but if he had, it would have given the cover defence time to cut Haynes, the winger, off. But Haynes just showed us what speed he's got as Joe Lloyd came across, but he had no hope of picking him up in time. A great performance. 26 points to 22 now, Western Division lead. And I'll tell you what, Great Britain have just called both their reserves to get their tracksuits off, warm up, and they're looking for replacement players.
Yes, Gary Schofield and David Hobbs are warming up. Both were picked in the original team for the program, but
It'll be interesting to see the players they bring off, because there's a few walking there, I might add.
Pressure kick.
Dad lines it up and he puts it right over the black. 17 minutes into the second half at Victoria Park, number 1 oval. We have a scoreline that reads Western Division 28, Great Britain 22.
It's home laundry time at Home Crafts in Dubbo. Their entire range of washers and dryers are at an all-time low price. Known brands like Simpson, Hoover, Hitachi and Phillips are slashed in price. Home Crafts guarantee friendly and efficient service at all times, and you just can't beat the knowledge of products they sell. For the guaranteed best price in town on washers and dryers, you've got to shop at Home Crafts. Home Crafts up from Riverdale, your super electrical discount store in Macquarie Street, Dubbo.
22-4, 2-2 Sport.
Victoria Park, number 1 oval. Great Britain are about to kick off. They've got 2 replacements. The 2 replacement players we mentioned, Gary Schofield has gone to 5'8". Frank Myler is off. Tony Myler is off. And surprise, David Hobbs is on. And their lock forward, Harry Piner, is off, which is a surprise. But I must admit,
there's a mistake by Western Division there.
He hasn't done a lot since 20 minutes into the game. Prior to that, he was everything. But
yes, he was the kingpin of their whole attack, but in this half he hasn't done anything at all.
Well, there we saw an elementary mistake by Western Division. Englishman kicked the ball deep, and Les Haynes touched the ball and went dead in goal.
So now we have Marty Gordon's kicked it out from underneath the post. Mick Burke, fullback from England, run it up. They're taking it a glorious tackle by Ken Fisher. 10 metres in the Western Division side of halfway. Plays it back to the replacement in the Hobbs, and he runs straight at them. But he's taken 35 metres out the second tackle. Noble goes for a run himself. Captain, he said, I'll get involved. And he's taken on the third tackle 30 metres out on the third tackle as Noble gets up to play it. Ashton is dummy half. Looks for a crisscross. Gives it to Hobbs, the replacement forward. Holds it up. Gives it to the front forward in rain. He looks at him. He's gone to within 15 metres of the line on the fourth tackle. Western Division need to put their defence together. Long pass out the line. Lydon onto the centres in Mumby. He comes back in field. He's running hard at them. But Ken Fisher takes him in the last tackle. He's done a lot of tackling, Ken Fisher, since he went on there. Noble gives it to Ashton. They haven't got their kicker. Gives it to Crooks, drawing a man at him. Little short pass to the second row in Goodway, but they were waiting for him. And Lee Douglas in particular took him immediately. We now have a change over to Western Division.
I think that's the first change over the day too, isn't it?
That's the second one. Great Britain had one earlier.
Penrith 10, Parramatta 2. The second half, Western Division leading 28 points to 22 as they run it out from their own quarter. Goes on to Williams. He runs straight at them and he makes about 3 metres as we have a player injured down there, actually. What did the referee pull that up for?
Well, Wilfred Williams has dropped the ball as he got up to play the ball. Phil, nobody holding on to him whatsoever, and just as he went to place the ball on the ground, it dropped from his hands, and so we have a scrum.
Well, Marty Gordon, this will be bad news if he's injured badly. The referee's asked for time off. Marty Gordon, the fullback for Western Division, is down with a leg injury, which seems to be fairly serious, and they've used both their replacement players. So the last thing we need to do is see the team have to go on with 12 players. Hopefully he'll be able to get up. But I can tell you, just to the right-hand side of us, we have a very worried Great Britain camp at the moment. They're not very impressed with what's going on at all. They haven't been beaten on this tour, and the way things are going, they're about to suffer their first defeat because Western Division are playing inspired football. 20 minutes in the second half, they're leading the game 28-22. And don't forget, earlier game, Group 11 defeated Group 10, the under-18s, 36-28.
There's a penalty to Great Britain.
30 metres out. Ashton takes the... lucky the referee didn't see that. He took the tap too then.
Behind his back.
Referee... halfback Ashton takes the tap immediately, gives it the replacement forward and Hobbs. He runs at them, take 20 metres. First tackle, Noble from dummy half himself. The captain's getting involved, and he's taken 15 metres out in the second tackle. They want to watch little Ashton. He's a nippy little bloke from dummy half. He runs himself, gives it back to Hobbs. They're getting him very involved in this play, and he's taken 10 metres out in the third tackle. Western Division needs to hold their defence here as referee Harrigan once again penalises Western Division for holding onto the player. Ashton takes the tap 10 metres out. Well, he nearly did it again.
I think he might have that time.
He didn't look at the mark again. Gives it to Big Crooks, a prop. He's running straight at the line. It's taken 3 of them to hold him up. He's only a metre out. As little Lee Douglas again, he's not frightened for a little halfback to get involved with these big fellas. He's taken it. Western Division have... raked the ball back in the play the ball and thrown the ball over the dead ball line. So we now have Western Division desperate in defence and doing it well actually, as we have another line drop out as Mark Smith this time, always involved, gets a big kick straight over their heads, back to halfway. Comes off the knees of the Mumpy, the centre, and he was nearly took it over the sideline. Comes halfway. Winger Haynes picks him immediately, gives it to Joy. He's a danger man. He runs at them, but he's taken 40 metres out from the Western Division line on the first tackle by Ken Fisher. Gets up, plays it back to Ashton. Once again runs from dummy half, but Horton, this lock forward, has been very involved. Was ready for him this time and knocked him over straight away. Noble plays it back to Hobbs. Hobbs onto the big second rower in Burton, but McPhail and McWhirter knock him over immediately. They're tackling well, Western Division, and doing it well. Ashton got himself from little run, gets it back to Burton. Burton draws the defence to him, looking to unload, but Ken Fisher is holding on to him, and also Steve Miller, the second rower, on the fourth tackle, and he gets up, plays it 30 metres out. Second row, Goodway runs himself, bumps off too, but there's too much defence there. They're fired up, Western Division. Last tackle goes back to Hobbs, the replacement, puts the big kick up. It's right underneath the post. Does Western Division get underneath it? Drop it, goes back to Great Britain. They got the overlap, but referee Harrigan says it's a knock-on.
It was a pressure kick from Great Britain. Western Division were 6s and 7s there. I think Great Britain would have been possibly better off hanging on to the ball on that occasion, swinging it to the right-hand side of the field, but luckily they didn't for Western Division.
Canberra 12, Canterbury 2.
Won by Great Britain, 10 metres out from the Western Division line, as Ashton is tackled immediately by McWhirter. Gets up, plays it back, out to Hobbs, the replacement. He's very involved. Cuts out a man, gets it on to Mummy, the winger. Got Joy outside him, he's going for the try line, and he's over in the corner.
Yeah, try to Great Britain in the corner.
A try to Des Joy, and I believe that would be his third try of the match, Des Joy. He's been very dangerous out here in the Des Foy. That's his third try, I believe. Am I correct in saying
that? That's right, Phil, yes.
And he scored for the second time out of his 3, right in the corner, which gives Burke a very difficult kick, only about half a metre in from the sideline. But boy, what a game we got here. 24 minutes gone. At the moment, the score is Western Division 28, Great Britain 26, and Burke to take the kick on the slightly outside the 22-metre mark, half a metre in from the sideline. And actually, Brett Jayett has a 100% record today with his goal kicking.
Yes, he's kicked a couple of very good goals, particularly the last one to take Western Division to 28, and prior to that to even the score of 22 all. I think the way the game's going, there won't be a person leave Victoria Park number 1 Oval today until the whistle blows at the finish.
I believe also Mark Smith needs to get involved again. He hasn't since he got knocked over, and I believe he needs to go in close to those rucks and sort a few of these Englishmen out if Western Division are to win this game. Excellent kick from Burke, coming in beautifully, but it just missed the right-hand side, and he's not very happy with the referee.
Well, he can shake his head as much as he likes, but that kick certainly missed.
Well, with 25 minutes gone in the second half, at Victoria Park, number 1 Oval, we have a scoreline, Western Division 28, Great Britain 26.
Homecrafts Dubbo, your electrical specialist, is just about the only place to shop for all your electrical needs. Homecrafts have a large variety of known brands on show at prices that can't be beaten. At Homecrafts, you'll receive friendly and efficient service at all times, and leave knowing that you've received one of the best deals in town. Call in today to Homecrafts for outstanding service. You'll find Homecrafts 2 doors from Riverdale. Homecrafts, your super electrical discount store in Macquarie Street, Dubbo.
14-4, 2 to you, Sport.
Well, at Victoria Park number 1, it's Western Division 28, Great Britain 26. Great Britain have just dropped the ball 35 metres out from their own line. Western Division pick it up. But referee Harrigan, much to the disgust of the crowd, said a knock on both ways. 35 metres out. But there's some bad news here for Western Division fans. Marty Gordon, the fullback, is very badly injured with this leg of his, and he's had to go on the right wing with Les Haynes, the right winger, going to fullback. So I just hope this doesn't affect Western Division's momentum. With 9 minutes of this game to go, I would hate to think it. Hello, there's a fight in the front row. There's a fight in this Lee Crooks. We heard all about him. He's already been sent off in a test, and he's got stuck into Alan McPhail, the Western Division prop. Mark Smith ran in. That's the best way to get him playing football, is to get something like this going. As Lee Crooks, I didn't think we'd get through the game without Lee Crooks making his mark on somebody.
Well, Mark Smith, to his credit, showing a great degree of sense, went in and pulled hit the Western Division player out of it. But I must say, Lee Crooks has a bit of a reputation that that Western Division prop was handling himself pretty well.
Well, that's what's called maturity, because the Mark Smith of a few years ago
would have been in there for sure.
Well, that was Alan McPhail, the Western Division lad, and he certainly didn't lose anything as far as reputation was concerned. In fact, I think Mr. Crooks was looking for him after a couple that he'd received.
I would say that was from frustration more than anything, and I believe it's a penalty to Western Division. A penalty to Western Division. And Lee Crooks, being a bit hot-headed, has cost his team a bit of in defence here. As we see the play go onto the quarter line, it's a good kick for the line. We now have the play on the quarter line as Hooker Jackson comes up to take the tap. They've got to move on here with all the forwards standing in line. There's something on as he runs at them. He stands into it. He gives it to Williams coming out the blind, and Williams has dropped it again.
Great Britain have got the ball.
He has dropped the ball every time he's touched it, Williams. And Great Britain have come up with it. They now 30 metres out from their own line as Hooker and Captain Noble is knocked over in a good tackle by Ken Fisher. And for the second time, Ken Fisher has been penalised for not letting the player get up. Now, he's got to stop this. The game's too close to the end to be giving these sort of penalties away.
Unfortunately for Western Division, Phil, that move that we just had from the place kick just broke down through a bad pass more than Wilfred Williams' fault. Actually, I don't think he only got a hand to the ball as it rolled along the ground. But, they certainly had something prepared to go, but unfortunately it came unstuck.
The bad news for Western Division, Marty Gordon on this wing here in front of us, he's not a well boy, he's limping, and
he's very bad, isn't he?
Yeah, to his credit, he's going to stick it out, but I just hope they don't come this way with the ball, that's all.
Yeah, they've got a pass, a beautiful pass off the ground from second row Miller, but referee Harrigan once again said both teams have knocked it on, and so there'll be a scrum 8 metres on Great Britain side of halfway with 7 minutes left in this game. Western Division are leading 28 points to 26 as there is somebody down injured. I can't quite see who it is. Can anybody pick up? The trainer's right in our way.
I think it's Brett Jayett, second row.
Brett Jayett, is it? Yes. Second row is injured with 7 minutes to go, and in a great game of football. Western Division leading 28-26, and let's hope that Marty Gordon can see these 7 minutes out without, if anything else, letting this Des Foy get around him, because he's been the danger man, this Des Foy. He's looked good on this wing.
Well, as we've seen from Marty today, he's a 100% effort player, and if he's on one leg, he'll stop Des Foy.
Scrum goes down, Western Division defeat. Comes back out to Douglas, but referee Harrigan said no, that didn't go in cleanly, so he asked to put it in. Clean hill to Western Division, good hill. McQuarter comes inside, and Hobbs comes across and gives him a don't argue, but it doesn't worry McQuarter with 7 minutes to go. They're leading the game. Douglas under Horton, he straightened up. He's had an excellent second half, this fellow. There's not a lot of him, actually, but he's a good footballer, and he's taken to 40 metres out from Great Britain's side. They've gone the blind. McQuarter, he's got Jade outside him. Beats the first tackle. Got the second man, comes inside like a good footballer should near the sideline, and he's knocked over in the third tackle. 35 metres out from the Great Britain line with 6 minutes to go. Jackson on to McQuarter, looking inside. Mark Smith on the move. Broken them again. He's broken them and gone through to 20 metres out. Well, that's what I said. He came in close to the ruck, played it forward, and Ashton is going to get him. That was intelligent football by Smith. He knew that Ashton was going to tackle him.
He conned him there. Mark Smith conned him.
Yes, that was very, very good experienced football again from Mark Smith. He possibly could have got away with playing it forward and making a bit of a break, but he knew that the Great Britain player was starting to come on, so he thought, well, I might get a penalty if I do it quickly.
And that's
he did
exactly
it quickly.
what he did.
He got it.
But also, as we said earlier, if Western Division are going to stay in front in this game, Smith had to come near the ruck. And what happened? McQuarter ran wide, dumped into a forward coming on the outside of him, and had his little centre in the size of Mark Smith on the inside, and he busted them immediately, and that's what he's been doing all day.
I think Ray hit it on the head in his summary at half-time. The Englishmen have certainly taken backward steps whenever Mark Smith's had the ball. He's not a man the size of Mal Meninga and Chris Close, etc. It's going to be interesting to see how the Englishmen do handle those fellows.
Well, Brad Jayard has a kick on the quarter and only a couple of metres aside the post. He's kicked it, kept his 100% record going, as he's put it over in between the post. And once again, the Englishmen reckon that one didn't go over. So we should have a very happy side at the end of this if Western Division win it, I might add. So with 5 minutes to go, we have a scoreline that reads Western Division 30, Great Britain 26.
If you're confused about what size microwave you should buy, confused about whether to buy a model that cooks by time or temperature, confused about whether some models brown or not, then here's the answer for you. Ask about microwaves at Homecrafts. They guarantee they can answer all your questions on microwave cooking. See the range of Sharp microwaves today and ask how the ESP model works. If you're looking for a microwave, look no further than Homecrafts. Homecrafts, where price and friendly, efficient service is guaranteed. In Macquarie Street, Dubbo.
8 minutes to 4, 2 to you sport.
At Victoria Park, number 1 over, we have a scoreline reading Western Division 30, Great Britain 26, as Great Britain kick off and Western Division knock on 35 metres out from their own line. Great Britain will have the feed, and they've got 10 minutes to go in this game. Sorry, I called it incorrectly earlier. Actually, 10 minutes to go, and Great Britain need to get back into this badly. As Western Division won it against the head, and Lee Douglas runs the blind, looks for his wing, he can't get it to him, and he's knocked over 40 metres out from his own line. Williams runs from dummy half.
Hang on to the ball.
Hang on to the ball, he does. And he's taken 45 metres out from his own line. And the Great Britain fellas are getting a little bit upset. They're a young side. And instead of settling down and trying to do something about this scoreline, I think they're getting very cranky and not starting to play the football they're capable of. As Williams comes in and has a run, and he goes straight at them, and he's made it up to nearly halfway. Douglas on McQuarter. McQuarter on to Neil Moy. Straightens play up. Comes back infield. Too far infield, and he's easy meat for Burton and Goodway, the 2 second rows. And the last tackle is he's taken right on halfway. 8 minutes to go, with Western Division leading 30 points to 26. Plays it to McQuarter. McQuarter to beautiful kick. Top glorious kick straight over Des Foy's head. And it's gone out about 1 metre from the sideline in the field of play. Well, an excellent kick from Steve McQuarter, because Joe Lyden was up on him very quickly, and he's been a disappointment, this Joe Lyden today. He hasn't been sighted at all, really.
He hasn't done anything, Phil, to be really true. He put one good kick in, and that's all I can remember him doing.
No, well, I can't recall him doing anything, Joe Lyden.
I think he's also, it doesn't help when the press expects too much from you either.
That's right.
And
It's a scrum win to Great Britain right on their line. That was a pressure one they had to win.
Ashton, been knocked over by Fisher, gets up, plays it to Noble. Hobbs, the replacement, runs at him, but McPhail and Miller are waiting for him. They're fired up. They've only got 8 minutes to go to prove what Western Division can do, and they've knocked him over. Big second rower in Burton runs at them, but taken beautifully by Horton right around the legs.
That man Horton's tackled 1,000 people today.
And ball goes across the line this time to Goodway. He could worry them. He's a worry, this Goodway. He breaks the first line, but Neil Moy and Steve McWhirter, two little fellas, knocked the big fella over on the quarter line on the fourth tackle. Joe Light gives it the blind to front rower in Payne. Gets it on the drum, and he's a worry. He's beaten the first line, but coming across Horton, he slows him down. He gets up again. He's made it over halfway. Steps inside. He comes to 10 metres inside Western Division's territory as he's lost the ball in the play the ball. And referee Harrigan said it's a penalty for taking the ball up 45 metres out from Great Britain's line. This is a bit of a don't argue between Des Drummond and Neil Moy. He's a stirrer, this Neil Moy. He was trying to upset them again. He takes a tap. Light draws the man, gives it to Foy. He's a worry, this Foy. Gets it back to Line. Gets it back to replacement in Schofield. Straightens up. Comes to the corner. But he's taken by Hooker Jackson in a good tackle, and he goes forward from the mark. Plays the ball back to Noble. Noble runs himself. Gone straight through. He's only 10 metres out, but taken in a last-ditch tackle from little halfback Douglas. From the dummy half goes the replacement player in Schofield. He's only taken about a metre from the line. 30 points to 26 in favour of Western Division. Gets the ball wide. Infield comes Mumpy, the centre. He's only a metre from the line again as he's taken by McWhirter in a beautiful tackle. Gets it onto the prop forward in Payne, and Payne dives to the line on the last tackle. There must be inches from the line here. 6 minutes to go, 30 points to 26 in favour of Western Division. Plays it back, gets it onto the Crooks. Crooks on the back, joined in. He's got Foy outside, no to beat, steps inside, beats the first line, steps again, gets the ball back to Crooks again. He's put it down, line, he's got no one there. But referee Harrigan said it's a knock-on. 10 metres out from the line. I haven't seen a game of football like this since I can't remember how long.
There was a great tackle there by Ken Fisher too. He cut that attack off right when he was needed. He came across, and for a young fellow whose selection was criticised, he's more than justified that selection in this last 20 minutes or so.
5 minutes to go, Western Division feeding. The ball goes in, and referee Harrigan says penalty to Great Britain, 10 metres out from the line. Penalty count.
Well, in the second half, the situation has been reversed, Bill, because we have Great Britain at the moment with 8 penalties to Western Division's 4. Second half score, that is.
Tap taken by Noble on Ashton. They're doing a scissors move. Gives it a good way. The big second row. He bumps on the first one in Horton, but little Lee Douglas knocks him over in a good tackle with McWhirter. Plays it back, plays it forward, runs in the line. He's got 4 of them holding on to him. Once again, only a metre from the line. This could be the telling point in this game with 5 minutes to go.
Western Division getting very tired at the moment.
They are. Noble's running from dummy half, and he's over the line.
Noble scored a try.
You could see he was going to do that. He looked around to see where they were. There was a gap next to the ruck, and he went from dummy half. He only had to go a metre, and he scrambled over the try line to make the score. 30 points to Great Britain and 30 points to Western Division.
Well, we've heard about Noble. We've heard that he can score tries from dummy half, and he's a good loose forward in the open. We haven't seen much of him today, but the Great Britain captain there, under pressure, scored a very good try.
Well, that once again, he did that down in Riverina and scored a try right near the end to just get them home, and that might be the case here, but I wouldn't write Western Division off yet. We've got 5 minutes to go. They're fired up. I'm sure Ted Goodwin is on the sideline. Will make sure that they give everything they got for these last 5 minutes as they come back, because wouldn't it be wonderful prestige for them, because there's nothing wrong with this Great Britain side. It's a good team of footballers.
So I think the telling point there, Phil, was that the Western Division...
He's kicked it. He's kicked the goal.
He's kicked it, which gives Great Britain the lead 32 points to 30, as we only have 4.5 minutes to play. What was that, Ray?
Well, I think the telling point was that Western Division were under a lot of pressure, and they're just starting to tire it a little bit, and it looked rather ominous that Great Britain might break through there for a drive. It'll be interesting to see how they come back with green and whites. They've certainly done their division proud today.
Well, Great Britain are a young side, and they're playing good football. They're not playing that slow football we're used to in previous years. They're playing it at a fast pace, and it's showing in the game as Drummond, the winger, runs at them, and he's made it to 35 metres out on the first tackle as Jayat knocks him over in a good tackle. Once again, Noble runs from dummy half, and he's made it to 40 metres out the second tackle. Ashton, the halfback, goes in, gives him the replacement in Hobbs, runs straight at Horton. He takes him high, but stops him, and that's the main thing in the third tackle. Sorry, it was McWhirter. Plays it back to Ashton again. Ashton onto the prop in Payne. He's showing it both sides, but an excellent tackle from Lee Douglas, a little halfback, and knocks him over on halfway line, fourth tackle. Replacement player in Schofield. Little chip over the top, no one there. Regathers, runs straight through. He's got the halfback outside him, but he can't get the ball to him, and he's eventually knocked over by Lee Douglas. Neil Moy is holding him down, and that was silly play by Neil Moy. He had plenty of players back, and it was obvious he was going to hold him there until a penalty came, And I don't think he realised it was the last tackle anyway. So it's easy to do it from here, but he shouldn't have held him down, and it was obvious he was not going to let him up.
Well, some 3.5 minutes to go, Neil Moy should have experienced it. Should have known better there, because had one tackle to go, and now Great Britain are attacking the line with 6 to go.
20 metres out, plays it on to Ashton, does a round, gives it to Payne, the big prop. He's breaking the first line, but Fisher again is around his legs in conjunction with McPhail. Gets up, plays it back to Ashton. Ashton's got the big centre, second row, and Burton running straight at him. But once again, it's good defending by Western Division in Giant. He tackles low every time. Noble again goes from dummy half. He's going straight at the post, but he's brought down a few metres out on the third tackle. As they get off him this time, he gets up, plays it back to Payne. Payne goes himself, dummies to go, but he's nowhere to go. They held him straight away. Gets up, plays back to Noble. Ashton is standing wide. Hobbs, he's running himself. Takes on McWhirter, but he's a tough player for a little place.
Western Division got the ball.
Douglas has come up with it. And Joe Lydon might have done his first tackle. He's taken him 30 metres out from Western Division's line, the first tackle.
Took him right up around the ears too.
Oh, it's a long overhead pass. Oh, it's a bad pass.
That was silly
Could
play.
have been an intercept, but they've knocked it down, Western Division, and Lee Crooks, the front rower, comes up with the ball as he plays it back. Ashton again from dummy half, gives it a good way, gives it, don't argue, to the winger in Les Haynes, who's now playing fullback, but he's taken 15 metres out. Second tackle. Western Great Britain in front, 32-30, doing a runaround. Gives it on to Crooks. Crooks runs at them, but he's brought down on the quarter line on the third tackle as Great Britain attack again. Ashton into dummy half. Gives it to the second row. Burton goes straight at them, but the defence is too strong. They're a different side to the first 20 minutes of the game since they settled down. Gets it out to Ashton. Once again, switch with Lydon. Lydon onto the front row, Payne, an overhead pass. Gives it to Burke, the fullback. Gives it onto the centres in Mumby. And Mumby goes once again over in the left-hand side. Excellent try.
Tried a Great Britain. That was fairly obvious there. They moved the ball from one side to the other. They stretched Western Division defence right out. And there we saw Mumby go over with 2 men in support, but no problem at all. All he had to do was just jog over the line and put the ball down. Western Division now, I think, their effort's gone. There's only a minute or so to go in this game. To their credit, they've stuck at it the whole way, and all we saw was the professionalism of this English side. They moved the ball around, and a very easy try resulted in it.
I think the important thing again here is that the Great Britain players realise that losing the Western Division is not going to do their chances of playing in Test matches much at all, and I think I think their pride's been hurt a little bit by the performance of the Western Division side, and they've really started to put their game together in the last 10 minutes.
Also, those last 2 tries scored by Great Britain have come in the left-hand corner, where Western Division, in all honesty, have been carrying a passenger in the form of Marty Gordon, and both have been scored right on that sideline. So it's no disgrace to Western Division what's happened here today with a 36-30, as it's a better kick this time, but it's just gone to the left-hand side of the post. He's missed that one.
There's full time.
Full time goes at full time at Victoria Park, number 1 oval. We have a scoreline that reads Great Britain 36, Western Division 30.
It's happened. Homecrafts have slashed the price of their entire range of bedding. Double beds, single beds, bunks, cots, divans, and foam mattresses, all reduced to an all-time low. Listen to these specials. Sleepmaker double ensembles, $299. Sturdy tubular double bunk, including foam mattresses, $199. And a metre-wide foam mattress, only $19.95. Just a few of the fantastic bargains at Homecrafts. Homecrafts, your super discount store. Macquarie Street, Dubbo.
2 minutes past 4, 2 to your sport.
31.
Back here at Victoria Park, number 1 oval, we have our Western Division player of the match with us, Mark Smith. Mark Smith, congratulations, a wonderful game of football, not only from you, but from the whole team.
Thanks very much, Phil. It's really great to play against England. I've played once against New Zealand, but today was by far the greatest thrill with the Dubbo crowd and everyone that came, and it was just tremendous feeling, tremendous game.
Mark, 20 minutes into the game, Great Britain were leading 18 points to 2. At that stage, you'd been playing out in the centres as a conventional centre. It was obvious, I saw the look on your face, you were cranky. You came into the play, you got involved, and you meant business. It must have felt good to get in that and really stir that team up.
It does stir Bombies up because, well, I don't know, I think they're probably some of the biggest winches in the world, you know. It was great, but they played very well, and wish them all the best in the test against Australia. And again, thanks very much to Homecrafts and to you.
Thank you very much, Mark Smith, and congratulations again for a great game of football. Well, summing up on that, firstly, we have our scrums and penalties. What have we got that down there for the game now, Ray Collins?
Yes, the scrums and penalties in the first half, as we gave them at half-time, the penalties were 9-5 in favour of Western Division. In the second half, the penalties were very similar, except they went the other way. The Great Britain received 9 penalties in the second half, and Western Division 4, which gave a total of 14 penalties to 13 in favour of Great Britain. In the scrums, it was very even all day, actually. 2-2 at half-time with 1 tight head to Great Britain. In the second half, the scrums went 5-4 to Great Britain. This time they picked up 3 tight heads. Only 1 tight head, and 1 tight head went to Western Division as well. In the changeovers, we had 1 in each half, so there was a fair degree of kicking, and I'd have to say a fair degree of drop ball at various stages.
Kevin James, your thoughts on what can only be saying a magnificent game of rugby league football?
Well, those people living in Dubbo that weren't here today, you've missed probably one of the best games of rugby league that's been played on Victoria Park, number 1 oval for probably a decade or maybe even 2 decades. Western Division, a team of youngsters with a sprinkling of experience, namely in Mark Smith and Steve McGuirter from Gilgandra. The selections were criticised earlier in the week. 1 or 2 players were suggested they weren't good enough for the Western Division side. They've come out today. The first 20 minutes, they couldn't settle down. They were very nervous against their counterparts from England, and that was fairly obvious in the fact that Western Division couldn't hold the ball at all for 6 tackles in the first 20 minutes. To the credit of the Englishmen, they threw the ball around as international teams should, and they scored some easy tries in that first 18, 19, 20 minutes. Western Division then, through Mark Smith, decided that they were back in this game, that the Englishmen weren't invincible people from across the water, and they got stuck right into it, and it was an absolutely 100% effort from all the players. Marty Gordon couldn't walk at the finish, yet he stayed on to make sure that Western Division had 13 men. Mark Smith, inspirational again. Steve McGuirter, a great captain's game. Douglas, the halfback. Brad Jayat from Parks, and the lock forward, Horan, they gave their best, and it was an absolutely fantastic game. No, we can't really say that there was a player that stood out in the English team. I think Pinner, for the first 20 or 30 minutes that he was on the field, he played fairly well. He threw the ball around. His kicking was pinpoint accuracy. Ashton, the halfback, he was in everything, defence and attack, and I think he tried right throughout the game. But the thing that I guess outstanding as far as the Englishmen were concerned is the fact that they can throw the ball around. They have a lot of speed to burn, particularly in the backs, and fellows like Foy, Drummond, the 2 wingers. Joe Lydon was very quiet, but they didn't really need him in the finish, and obviously he was just in the game to get the feel for things, maybe get a feel for the climate, and obviously we expect bigger things from Joe Lydon in the future. To sum the game up, I think the Englishmen were just too professional for Western Division in the finish, but Western Division, I think, can count themselves extremely unlucky to lose. They did everything that was asked of them. They tackled, they defended excellently, they attacked when they had to, and it was just a little bit of bad luck and probably a little bit of inexperience feel that cost them the game.
Yes, it certainly was, Kevin, because especially that 18 points to 2 score after 20 minutes, you can't expect the team to come back from a situation like that. But my word, what a great performance at tackling once they got involved. Those little fellows, Steve McGuirter and Lee Douglas, I don't think they'd be frightened of anybody running at them. It doesn't worry them what size they are. Those blokes tackle any size and anyone. They amaze me, those little blokes. And Mark Horton, Brad Jayat, he only knows one way around the bootlaces, Brad Jayat. He's a credit to football and to Parks Club there. And let's be honest, everyone was wondering about this selection of Ken Fisher, but he's playing in a team that's doing it tough at the moment. And put him in a good team like that, and you can see what a footballer that guy is.
Yes, I think Ken Fisher can be justifiably proud of his effort in the second half. He picked up a loose ball and set up one of Western Division's tries. We've already mentioned that Mark Smith was the man of the match, and I believe he also has won the Braemar Man of the Match award presented by the Group 11 referees and their sponsors. But to me, I think Mark Horton as well, I thought he had an exceptional game, and his defence early in the second half, he came out determined to make sure that the good things they'd done in the first half weren't forgotten and put the pressure back on Great Britain straight away. And as you've said, Phil, I think the two halves, Lee Douglas and Steve McWhirter, they showed a lot of experience. They've played together a lot for Group 14 and Western Division. And I think every one of the Western Division players can be very proud of their efforts. Great Britain, well, they are an international side, and it's not easy to beat international.
No. The thing that, as I said earlier, that if we remember back on previous tours of Australia over the last dozen years, England have had an average age in their forwards at least well in their 30s. And of course, they're cunning and they've slowed the game down and they've played it at a very slower pace.